One more. Hello, everyone, to today's podcast, The Engineer Whisperers. So happy to have you back again. And today I'm bringing you again a fantastic guest. So let me invite him in. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So, as before we get started, I invite everyone to come and tell us a little bit about themselves. So, how would you introduce yourself?
I would introduce myself as an engineer that's 4 decades of experience working across many industries, many countries, working with interesting people. And as most engineers do and are interested in, is we find problems to solve and we go about solving them with people that we enjoy working with. So, that's pretty much what I do.
Well, we're gonna dig into this mindset of yours. Tell us where you're calling in from.
So I'm currently located in Perth in Western Australia. I'm originally from London in the UK, but my wife and I decided to move to Australia 23 years ago with our 3 children at the time because we liked the warmer weather and we had enough of the rain and the dark skies in the UK. So that was the reason why we came to Australia.
Well, I wanted to ask you what the reason was, and that's a pretty good one. Um, but I'm curious, did you already have a job when you moved, or you wanted to see the sun first before you started a new career there?
Well, interestingly, my sister was already living here since 91. And we came for a holiday to see what it was like. And then we just decided to move. No, we didn't have a job, but I did. I came before and I did some interviews, and the sort of skill set that I've got is quite transferable from industry to industry. So I wasn't worried about getting work, but I know I didn't come with a job or we just came. But I had family and already living here, so it wasn't as hard as other people that go where there's no one they know at all. So it was,
You had some stability and security,
yeah, yeah.
and then had to figure out the rest. So tell me about that, the skills that you as an engineer had back then that you're saying they were transferable really literally across oceans.
Yeah, so I I did a general engineering degree course at university, sort of mechanical and electrical, and then picked all the electrical ones. So I'm a chartered electrical engineer on paper. Um, and I got into control systems back in the late 80s and basically worked for many, many car companies, car factories around the world, doing control systems work. So that was very transferable from a car factory to a mine site, whatever machine, whatever, a PLC, something that you can program. So yeah, it was very transferable. Yeah, it did take a little while, and I was offered jobs to come back to Europe and do contract work, but I decided no, I had to stay here until I got a job, which I eventually did, and yeah, and we've been here ever since.
So let's maybe talk about these challenges because a lot of people think, and I did it myself. I moved from Europe to the US. That's a big change in respect whether there's a new kind of language, new culture, and then definitely starting a new kind of a career. So what challenges did you run into as you moved?
So, I mean, Australia and England, it's a bit like, I suppose, for yourself from Europe to America. You think it's very similar, but it's not. And it was
But
like,
it's not, correct?
it's not, no. I mean, we came and it was almost like starting again. We didn't have everything was on a driver's license. We didn't have a driver's license. We went to go and buy a refrigerator. Oh, you haven't got this. It was almost like you'd fallen, dropped off the
Exactly.
planet, like an alien landing. But yeah, it was okay. Yeah, you just, as I say, you go with the flow, and you just work through it. But yeah, it was difficult. And I suppose the difficult thing, our children were teenagers at the time as well, so it was hard for them. It
Mm.
was probably harder for them than it was for us. But no, everyone got through that early few years and adjusted, and then, yeah, and everyone loves it. So it's
So how long did it take you to get the job that you wanted there?
it was about 8 weeks, 8 weeks, and then I got
Okay.
well, a job I wanted. Um, yeah, it was okay, and but then I was offered to start up a company for the company I had been contracting to in the UK. So I basically did a little bit of traveling and started up an Australian company with my European boss. My boss was based in the UK, and I did that for about 18 months. Um, but they wanted me to move again to another place in Australia, but the family didn't want to do that. So I I changed jobs again and did something else.
So what did you find? What was next?
What was next? That was like managing the projects for an alliance with Water Corporation here in Western Australia, which was very interesting. With an engineering systems perspective, it was, yeah, it was interesting.
So help me understand, how does one transfer the skills that you learn in Europe to Australia? Because some might think there are different rules, regulations there because it's a different country. So maybe help us understand better what was different, what was similar in this transition for you.
So I think in terms of the work, it's very similar. The work I was doing in when I was in the UK was a global job to some extent. Car factories are based all around the world. We had teams of people in 5 continents at one point at the same time. So a lot of what's done is, globally relevant. So I don't think there was too much in terms, and that's where engineering is so transferable because it applies the same everywhere. The laws of physics don't change when you go from one country to another. But as I subsequently further things that I did, it's the people and the culture that generally make the difference. When it's just machines, it's just the machine, it doesn't talk back.
That's true.
Well, sometimes it does, but that's normally because you made a mistake. But
Yes, it screams at you. No, not that
yeah,
one.
that is not. I'm not doing that because you told me the wrong thing.
Yes.
But
So tell me more about the people side. How how did you figure out how to work with the people now with these in this environment?
yeah, well, um, people depends on the industry. They can people have strong opinions. Oh no, that won't work. That won't work. That's not been done before. Uh, um, and I think engineers always like to do something different. Um, and it's kind of, well, what if we try this? What if we try that? Well, let's see if we can do it. And that's what I found coming here. It's and different industries, and mining is a lot of the mining is like 2,000 kilometers away in the northwest of Australia, and most people live sort of around Perth because it's a big, big, big sort of area. Um, so the concept of remote operations was, oh no, that won't ever work, and people earn a lot of money doing like fly in, fly out. That's, so they sacrifice their time and their family time, So the concept of, well, you don't necessarily, if you can do stuff remotely in an office in Perth, not having to go to site, um, was a bit challenging for some. So
So it sounds like
um,
that was one of the projects that you worked on.
it was indeed. It was. It was. We just needed to demonstrate. Like call it proof of concept or
Yes.
pilot or whatever people want to call it. But
So, so Mark, how do you convince those who say no, that's impossible to say to kind of see the light that maybe it is possible, even though I mean it sounds like a good concept, but then getting them on board to invest financially and then resources and so forth. So how did you do it?
well, it wasn't just me. I mean, obviously there was an interest from the business, but it was well, let's try. You never learn anything unless you try. Even if it doesn't work, but at least you've tried. That word failure, sometimes, fail fast. Try it. If it doesn't work, then okay, you've learned something. And so that's what we did. We just said, okay, well, we'll do it for a month. We'll just do it for a month, see if it works. Um, uh, and then we brought the people, and that was the interesting thing. The people we brought that were used to being on site for 12 hours a day, stuck in a cabin on site, and we brought them to a nice office in Perth.
Probably air
Coffee,
conditioned.
air conditioning, no noise, not being shaken to bits. Um, but it's the motivations, they were concerned it
Yeah.
can be a big change. It's like people losing their job,
Yes.
and introducing new things. People get worried. It's a bit like AI now. Everyone's, oh, AI is going to take over the world, but is it? I'm not sure. But yeah, but that was it. It was let's try. So we just did it and we tried it. Um, and the crux was when the big boss came in and talked to these two guys and said, "Can you do everything you do on site from here?" And they went, "Yeah, we can actually." He said, "That's it. Right, we're doing it." Bang.
And then the
And
decision has
then
been.
yeah, and now that was 19 years ago, and now it's the de facto standard almost
That's
for the mining industry.
wow. That is
Yeah,
super cool. I mean, talking about changing an industry,
yeah.
one
Oh, well,
project at
there's
a
lots
time.
and lots of people, lots and lots of people that have, been involved and done lots of great work. But yeah, it's a big shift, big shift.
That's
Other
yes.
industries have done it for decades, oil and gas, remote platforms, and that's the nature of what it was. But yeah, that's the people thing, how do you change or get people to understand the change? That's more the point, I think. It's yeah,
Yes. As
education.
as an engineer and engineering leader, I feel that almost like engineers have a harder job because they, as you said, they see the possibility and then they meet the wall of that's not possible because someone else is not seeing it yet, what
Yeah.
you see. So I heard that one of your techniques is saying, let's test it. Let's just see if it works
Yeah.
for a short time. So I love that one. That's a great one. What else have you done? What else has worked for you and in other projects that you can maybe share with us
Yeah,
about?
I think the other thing is also, learning to work with partners or other companies, and it's getting away from this transactional model where you say, "Oh, there's a scope, you do that, and if you don't do this, there's that." Um,
Tell me
Not
more.
quite.
How does one work with partners? How
Well,
did
it's
you?
just working together. So a mutual interest. You help them and they help you, as opposed to you deliver ABC and that's the essence. That's all there is to relationship. So it's building relationships with people, finding finding those mutual relationships and then building on, why do we need to go down this path? Why do you need to fix that? Why do you know? So it's just building relationships as well, and when especially if things are difficult and things start to go wrong, because it's easy to blame rather than help.
Yes, yes. You strike me as someone who is a pretty calm and peaceful person.
I try to
as
be.
as a default. And then I also have seen that when when the glass is too full, then it pours out. So then it's the okay. When Mark is angry, we know there's something going on. It took a lot, but let me just go back to so is this something that you've always been this calm and understanding, compassionate person? Before, let me say the silly thing, before you became an engineer? Or was that something that you developed to then, better your career and then to build relationships as an engineer?
Yeah, I think, yeah, we are who we are. We don't necessarily understand who we are when we're younger, but as time goes on and as you experience more things with different people and different environments, you probably learn more about yourself, and you learn what works and what doesn't, and you watch and listen what other people do, and you think, oh, that wasn't too good, or that was really good, and yeah, it's all about learning, isn't it? I love the saying, we have two ears and one mouth, so listen twice more than you speak, and you'll learn a lot more. Um, but I suppose that's where engineers don't know, always make good politicians because, because they see things a little bit quicker and they see things what other people don't see. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, it's looking how to get the best out of people. It's the positive, you know, a glass half full as opposed to a glass half empty. It's
Yeah, you mentioned intentions earlier, finding out others' intentions when you partner with others. And I'm a
mm,
big believer too that you know, being clear just on my intentions before I even ask somebody else's intention is a
yeah,
big part of my own leadership. And that's what it sounds like, that you are also listening to your own intentions and aligning them with other people's, being curious about other people's intentions, and then aligning the intentions to see where there's true partnership in intentions as well, and how you can help each other. And I mean, I have to tell you, it's so much more pleasant to work with someone and to speak with someone who has that peace of mind than the opposite. So please keep your peace of mind and attitude going forward as well.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to
Um,
enjoy what you do, and everyone plays a part in that. So.
yes. So what was maybe the biggest learning for you as moved, changed, restarted your career three times, and being part of a new culture and with new people? Um, what was your biggest what did I say? Learning, or you can go challenge, which
Yeah. Well, I think, as you it's like you say, a big change was moving countries. I've kind of changed jobs quite fairly often. I've done different things in different industries, but I think it's yeah, learn about yourself and stay true to yourself. And the things, identify the things that work, and just keep doing the things that work and keep doing the things that you enjoy doing. And everything else, all the other stuff will flow through from that, and you'll enjoy it in the process, which is, you know, that's the point, isn't it?
that
Do
is.
something, do something interesting, help other people, and have a bit of fun in the process. So that's what I like.
I
Yeah,
love those ingredients. What I'm curious about is how do you identify what works? Do you analyze at the end of the day of what worked? Do you write it down? Do you journal? Do you work with a mentor? Do you tell it a friend? What is your process?
I think I've learned to connect with people that, you know, are more skilled than I am. So it's kind of a mentor thing, but you kind of naturally get attracted to different type of people. Um, yeah, I'm a big believer in journaling, writing things down. You know, I'm not. I personally don't particularly analyze everything. My daughter's an engineer as well, and she's a lot more analytical than I am. Um, I'm more intuitive, I think. You know, what feels right, what feels good. Um, and sometimes, you know, you go through a process and it doesn't quite work out for you. You know, I got made redundant for the first time at 59, and I thought, oh, that wasn't much fun.
Yeah, that
But
probably didn't feel good.
that didn't feel good at the time. But you know, then you sort of just think about it, take stock, and go, oh yeah, okay, that was why that happened. Fair enough. Move on, and you do. So
So one advice that what I'm hearing is, and what practice that you're doing is just letting go of maybe, holding on to, as you said, to blame, to judgment, to these
yeah,
negative emotions that have no use once a change already happened. Like you said, your job has been made redundant, so there's nothing else that you can do
yeah,
there. You won't get it back. So, right,
yeah,
logically is to let it go and move on. And and those who are listening, I'm a big believer in that too, that transitions work and they become successful and lead to successful changes when you practice exactly what you're saying, Mark, is that letting go. Some
yeah,
things, yes, you hold on to, but some things, let them go. Let them be in the past so that you can move forward with also that attitude of the opportunity is there's something in front of me right now. If this door closed, there's something in front of me. Another door will open, and you will only see it if you give yourself the opportunity.
absolutely, absolutely. There's always, yeah, one door closes, another one opens. And then yeah, as you go through life and your career, whatever you do, you're learning all the time. So just keep learning. That's what I love now. It's like every day, what can I learn today? Who can I learn from? You know?
Oh, yes, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's and the skills you have, you know, you've acquired, and then people come to you and say, "Oh, well, you did that. You know, can you come and do that again?" Which is exactly what I'm doing at the moment. It's like, "Oh, well, we didn't know how to do that, but you guys did it. Can you come and do it again?" Yeah, okay.
So how do
So
you approach a situation like that as also, a seasoned engineer? Because I'm thinking as well that just like your daughter, you must be working with younger engineer. I mean, engineers who are just maybe starting or they're early in their careers and they're looking at you as someone that they want to connect with and learn from. So give us some insights of how do you mentor others? What what
yeah,
guidance do you give them?
I yeah, it's all about working together. You know, with a common, you know, go away from the blame. How can you move things forward? That's how I kind of mentor people. Because the engineering is like almost the technical aspect, so you need to make sure that, you know, whatever you're doing, it's going to work. Don't do
For
something
sure.
that's not going to work. But then how can you help the people make sure the group of people get the best out of it, and they get something for them as well.
So you're saying deliver what is expected of you as an engineer. That's the technical part.
Yeah.
And then look for improving the lives of those who you're working with.
Yeah, pretty well. So that they get some benefits out of that experience, and whatever the project is it delivers as it should, as opposed, because sometimes they're very difficult, complex projects that run for many, many years, and they take turns. A number of them have, different companies that have bought another company, and then it's they're very complex.
Okay.
So it gets difficult. But how do you manage that difficulty from a management perspective, not just an engineering perspective? So
So how do you manage through those difficulties? Because then what I'm hearing is if the project runs, but new people show up, new companies, new stakeholders, new leadership, maybe new scopes or scope
yeah,
creeps.
yeah.
How do you manage through those difficulties?
Oh, you just try and keep the culture. You just trying to encourage the working together, that positive, as well as sticking to the scope and what people have to deliver. You have to hold people accountable as well. But it's just trying to develop that right culture to make sure you keep moving forward, and not go backwards.
Kind of
Some,
keep an eye forward and
yeah,
then make sure that everybody's having that forward
yeah.
looking.
Another aspect is a lot of these projects, when I said you look to do something trial,
Hmm.
and sometimes people set up what they want to trial in the wrong way. As so, I think it's always good to look for where you want to be at the end. What's the end state? And then try and say, well, this is the first stepping stone in order to get there. Whereas a lot of people say, oh, that's too hard, but we'll just do this bit. And this bit isn't always the right thing to do.
Connected to,
Yeah, because if
ah,
you say, well, no, that's what we want really in the end, so
yeah.
let's aim for that sooner rather than later. I've seen that quite a bit of in quite a bit of examples.
So how do
Because
you,
there's R&D, people sit
yes,
and we play with all sorts of stuff and do stuff, but
yes.
it's when it touches like a production environment,
Hmm.
people are very conservative because I don't want to lose production, whether it's making cars or producing iron ore or whatever it is. It's that's we don't want to mess with that too much unless we know for sure. And sometimes you don't know for sure until you try some things, but you've got to be very careful how you introduce that into a production environment.
So how do you deliver or how did you deliver that news to someone maybe who wanted to try something that did not align with what they were wanting to do when you had a suggestion of no, let's try this instead because this aligns with what we want. How did you
Uh,
carry on a conversation like that?
Yeah, I think sometimes you just have to go over the same thing a number of times, but it is also you need to try and build a relationship with that person and understand why they're saying what they're saying, and then try and explain that this isn't quite what you think it is. So it's a bit of an education, a relationship building, and just you know keep moving through the process. And also beware, if it's someone you may be talking to an operator who's worried they're going to lose their job if you're introducing a piece of automation.
Yes.
Why should I help you get rid of my job? As I've heard many times. And we normally say, well, we're not getting rid of your job. We're helping you to be educated to maybe do a different job because, people are very capable, even though they don't realize it. So it's,
I love that part of engineers where what you just said is showing people the possibility, almost like dreaming for them and then with them,
Mm.
and then gifting them this gift. Uh, I mean, I can just put myself in an operator's position as if you just think about it differently as a you're not losing your job because you don't it's that do you really like to, as you said, to sit in a not so good environment for for 10, 12 hours versus sitting in a room where you have access to air conditioner, coffee, so forth. So if you if we can make your job, your conditions better while you're still employed, and to create an opportunity where you can learn something and grow into a new job that maybe pays better, has even better conditions and even better for yourself and your family, then it's amazing how people just kind of open up and say, "Oh yeah, I didn't think about that."
Yeah. People know what they know and they don't know what they don't know. So the change management piece to a lot of these things, especially if it affects people in a big way. It gets very emotional and gets very charged and it's yeah, you just have to manage that and be aware of how things affect people. Um, yeah, change management, I think, certainly more traditional and because people, oh, that's where we've always done that. And and engineers say, well, why have you always done that? Because it's probably you could have done it better. No, we've always done it that way. Oh, oh. Well, let's try this way.
Yes, yes. I'm so happy that you bring this up because most people don't add the two, engineers and change managers or change management and engineering together. But when you do, just like listening to you, when you do, amazing things happen. People
Yeah,
understand, people change their mindsets from impossible to possible. They start seeing things differently and they start imagining what's possible with you at the same time while you build a relationship with them.
yeah. It was into one of my early experiences when I was before I even got into the sort of automation. I think it was my second job out of uni, and it was for a defense company in the UK, and they had a prototype built for an indoor training system for a particular um, system, um, and and the company had, you know, met, built it together, sketches, and it was a prototype. It was purely a prototype, and they said, "Oh,
Hmm.
we've got to make 400 of these and deliver to them." The defense department in the UK. Oh, we need an electrical person. We need a mechanical person. We need. I said, oh, it's okay. I can do them all. That's all right. I'll do it all. And everyone went. That's I think they would call them mechatronic engineers now, but the term didn't wasn't around in the mid to late 80s.
I think everybody was more like, that's impossible, Mark.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, no. Well, I'm a mechanical engineer. I only do this. But because I wasn't, I said, yeah, well, I can, that's all right. And then when I left, they said, oh, we're going to have to employ two people now. I said, well, not really. If you get the right people, you don't need to. But it was just an example of doing something different.
Yes.
Both, going back, how do you learn? I think experiences like that teach you that, oh, well, you can sort of push the boundaries. You can do something different. Um, I mean, and that was, yeah, nearly 40 years ago. So, there's a lot now that you see, things are done different and yeah,
Well, I think
it's a mindset.
yes, I think the mindset, kind of carries with time and with the years because the situations maybe changed, the environment has changed, um, and we also still have challenges where how you pointed out earlier that what the kind of the block is for a project to move on is for someone to also see the possibility in the success of that project. And that's the human aspect of work where we humans work together or we work against a problem.
Yeah.
We work on a problem or we work against a problem in solving that problem.
Yeah.
So so how we carry on that mindset is understanding, as you said, that others might see the world differently, and that's okay because if we all share how we see the world, then we open up this conversation, we open up the conversation to see each other through our different mindset and see where our intentions meet.
Yeah. 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 I've also found that, when you get a really good mix in a team, you can call it the A team or whatever, but when you have a great mix of people that have the capability, but they enjoy what they do and have a bit of fun, it you almost you the level goes up, and and you just do more, and it becomes
Yeah.
very visible, and then people kind of are looking over. Oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? So
Yeah.
it's lead by example, and then the right example, as opposed to more of a bullish. You will do this. You do that. It's more of that engagement. It's the people, the cultural stuff. The technical bit is the technical bit. That's it either works or it doesn't. It does whatever it is, but how you blend that with people, I think that's where the magic happens.
That's where and
Oh,
that's the magic that you've been stirring up and creating for over 40 years. And
yeah.
as we're getting closer to the end, as you look back over these years and your experiences, what is something that would you like to leave us with to consider, to mull over, think about, maybe something that you wish you would have known 20 years ago, or I don't know, 40 years ago, because it's serving you now. So give you give you some time there to think. What what would you like to leave us with today?
Uh, I think my learnings are, always be open to different possibilities, keep an open mind, and do different things. I think don't get stuck in any one particular thing, I think is what I've learned over the years. Yeah, and be kind to people and just enjoy life. Pretty simple, really, for me, but uh, easier said than done, I suppose, for some people.
Uh-huh. Yes. And I'll bring the wisdom that you shared with us. Just test it. Test it in a small
Yeah,
area in your life, career or personal. Just give it a shot, give it a chance, and then see what happens. See if it
yeah,
changes anything, brings anything valuable, beneficial for you. And then, as you said, kind of analyze it, see what happens to you,
yeah, yeah,
and then move on and learn
yeah.
from that.
That's right. Don't be scared. Failure is probably the wrong word. You need to fail in order to learn. It's yeah. It's keep testing and learning, and as a lot of people say, you learn more by doing. You don't learn by doing nothing. So yeah,
Well, on that note, thank you very much for doing this podcast with me, for coming on and saying yes, sitting down with me and sharing your story and your wisdom with us. Thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciated it.
thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.